We are moving to our next speaker, Daniel. He's a Trend Investment Envoy for Space at the Scottish Government. Daniel, thank you so much for being with us today. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Alex, and thanks to your team for arranging this session today. It's great to see so many people on the call. Before I share my screen, I'll just quickly point out for the eagle-eyed among you, there is a satellite model behind me, and it is actually a UAE built, it's CalifaSat from my friends at MBRSC. So I thought I should point that out because I don't get the chance to talk about that on many calls. Okay, let me just share my screen and get started. I know we're quite short.
Wonderful.
Can you see that okay, Alex?
Yes, we do. Please.
Brilliant, that's great. So yes, as Alex mentioned, I'm Scotland's Trade and Investment Envoy for Space. In terms of my day job, I also I'm the co-founder of Astro Agency, which is a space-focused marketing company promoting around 80 space companies and different space agencies around the world, and also co-founder of Fire Arrow, which helps to build spaceport infrastructure in different parts of the world. But from speaking to Alex and when I was working on the interview for his magazine, we felt it'd be good to focus on what's going on in Scotland because there's a real interest from Scotland to work more and to collaborate with the UAE in particular. So let me just provide some context to that first of all, because I think it's important to give that international perspective, really explain why the UAE in particular is just such an attractive country to liaise with and to work with. And why countries like Scotland are certainly looking at the UAE. So a few years ago, the UK Space Agency signed an MOU with the UAE Space Agency, and that really set the groundwork for conversations and discussions around how we can partner academia, industry, and government level. There's already academia in the UAE in terms of a presence from Scottish universities. Heriot-Watt University, for example, have a huge campus in Dubai, and I know that Strathclyde and the University of the West of Scotland also have a strong presence in the region in the UAE. But more recently, we've been working from an Astro Agency point of view. I was involved in a project with our partners Azurex, who are based in Dubai, and we delivered a UK Space Agency funded project focused on Earth observation, which we've heard a lot about today from Juan and from Amelie, because it's just so critical. It's such a critical part of the space economy. But we focused on basically trying to bring together the UK Earth observation community to look at how we could solve challenges in the UAE and also in Bahrain, actually. And it was a really good example. I hope it was a really good example of the kind of projects that can be achieved and what can be done when we work together globally on space, because it's such a global area anyway. It makes sense to partner wherever possible. And that project, that IBF, International Bilateral Funding Project, really opened my eyes to what was going on in the UAE. So since then, over the last couple of years, I've been over for the Abu Dhabi Space Debate. And then more recently, I came to the UAE and visited MBRSC with the Deputy First Minister of Scotland and colleagues from Scottish Enterprise to talk more about how we could develop some kind of formal framework to work together and to bring our countries closer together. However, I want to give you a little bit of context on what's going on in Scotland. So I'm sure many of you are here to learn about what's going on in the UAE. So a slight disclaimer that you're getting some bonus content here on what's going on in Scotland, which I hope can help you understand why we're so interested in partnering internationally, particularly with the UAE. So I always start when I do these presentations around the world by asking people to think about Scotland and what comes to their mind. And I'm sure for a lot of you, you'll think about things like golf or Harry Potter, or our beautiful landscapes, our wonderful sunny weather as well. But my job is very much to try and change that so that, or maybe not change it, but to add space as one of the things that people think about when they think about Scotland, and not just launch and upstream, but again, that application side, that Earth observation, that insights, the global, the opportunity to bring global insights through satellite data, which is so key across so many different sectors. Just to explain the envoy role itself, because I do appreciate it's probably quite an unusual thing. I'm not sure there's many space envoys out there, but it was basically something that the Scottish Government decided to do. Envoys tend to be nationally focused, so you'll have an envoy for Australia or there is actually a Scottish envoy for the UAE, for Japan, etc. But they wanted to have a sector envoy, and the Scottish Government chose space as the first sector envoy role. So I was very proud. But in the Scottish community, we're quite small. We're all proud ambassadors. We all support what's going on in Scotland internationally. So I'm really proud to work with with colleagues in that role. And it's mainly focused on helping Scottish companies to partner overseas, to sell overseas, commercialize, and indeed to find suppliers, and also to attract those companies, space companies that might be looking at Europe or the UK, and to try and showcase that we're a great place to set up a space business because we have the Scottish Government support, we have UK Space Agency, UK level support, and of course we're members of the European Space Agency too. So I know we've not got too much time, so I'll try and quickly run through some of the things going on in Scotland. It's Scottish, the space kind of community and our offering is supported by SDI, which is Scottish Development International, and we have staff all around the world. We actually have a space specialist called Dennis, who's based in the UAE, and we have others. We've got presence in Abu Dhabi and in Dubai actually, but Dennis is our space specialist, so you'll see a few photos of him in this presentation, but he's been a huge help to me, and he's really looking to connect with companies and organizations in the region that are focused on space and bring them together with Scotland's companies. So yeah, I'm keen to share his details after the call. Now, in the interview that we did for the magazine, you can read a lot more into what's going on. So I'll not go through all of this, but essentially there's 180 space companies in Scotland, underpinned by a strong academic community, essentially, that's been going for many years. And a number of different notable names in the space sector. My good friend Dave Mackay, who was chief pilot at Virgin Galactic, of course, and then the likes of Professor Gillian Wright as well, who was the lead on the MIRI instrument for the James Webb Space Telescope, which was actually built, the MIRI instrument was built in Edinburgh in Scotland. Let's go to the next slide. So we are a small country, which has its advantages because we're a small community and we're able to move initiatives and different kind of ideas forward very quickly. So we come together every quarter as government, industry, and academia. And together with that approach, we've been able to, for example, write Scotland's space strategy. It's not a 100-year strategy like what I know the UAE has, which is incredibly inspiring and something that I like to look at a lot. But it really focuses on how we can contribute to that wider UK space economy and indeed that global space economy as well. So please do have a look at that strategy if you get a chance. By the way, we launched our space strategy in 2021 in Dubai at Expo. And that was very symbolic for us. We wanted to show the world that we are, open to international collaboration. So that's another nice link we have, history we have with the UAE. Scotland has what we refer to as an end-to-end value chain. And what I mean by that is when it comes to small satellites, we have that full capability. We actually manufacture more small satellites in Scotland than anywhere else in Europe. And we have launch vehicles. I'm sure some of you will be aware that we have launch sites well under development and being licensed at the moment as well. And we have a number of downstream Earth observation companies too. This all kind of started through this CubeSat revolution. So Spire, for example, have built over 200 satellites in their facilities in Glasgow, and they've been launched. Clyde Space kicked it all off back in 2005 when they set up and started building CubeSats and components for CubeSats. So it's a real strength that we have and an opportunity for collaboration. And what makes us different because of geography is that launch opportunity. So we have horizontal spaceport opportunities, but our main focus just now is on that vertical side. And recently, number one on that map, Six of Word, they've received their license for vertical launch, the first in Europe. And we now have a licensed launch vehicle developer, Skyrora, that is hoping to launch from Scotland, among with many others, Orbex, who are based in Scotland, RFA, who are in Germany, who I'll be meeting with next week, and many others as well. So launch is a big opportunity for us. And that brings with it a supply chain, of course, both on the satellite side, the components, the subsystems, but also on the launch side. We also cover ground stations, software for satellites, and services too. I always think of a good way to kind of mark the maturity of a space sector is by how many service companies it has, supporting the sector, how many service companies can survive just focusing on a space sector. So I'm delighted to see service companies, whether that's legal firms, marketing firms, or anything else, recruitment agencies for space that are appearing in the ecosystem too. And I mentioned that applications area, that Earth observation side, we've heard a lot about today, which is great to see because it's the part, even though I come from a launch background, it's Earth observation that excites me the most. I think it's amazing the things you can do with satellite insights and technology. So this is slightly out of date, this slide. We just had Catalyst, who are a major Earth observation company in Canada, expand into Scotland. So we're around 30 Earth observation companies in Scotland now. A USP that I just wanted to point out for us is something that we see as a distinguishing factor because we are quite a new country when it comes to commercial space, is our space sustainability roadmap. And again, because we're a small country, we're able to do things pretty quickly and engage with each other and share ideas. So we developed this. It's actually the world's first space sustainability strategy. But we didn't just want it to be another strategy with words and ambitions. So we created it as a roadmap that's full of 13 different work packages that run right up to 2045 with owners and with timelines and schedules so that it can be an active working document. And we'll be doing an update on this later in the year at SpaceCom in Glasgow in terms of how our space sustainability journey is going. The publishing of that document led to a lot of engagement. Indeed, I was speaking with colleagues in Dubai about it as well, but it did lead to a lot of different space agencies reaching out, asking us, how did we develop this space sustainability strategy for our whole country? The UN reached out, and as I say, lots of different partners that we are working with now. And when we created it, we worked with ESA, the European Space Agency, we worked with the University of Texas at Austin. We looked at other industries too to see what we could learn to make our sector as sustainable as possible, really reduce that environmental impact. And I know that that's a key area for the UAE as well. So that leads me to opportunities for collaboration. This is by no means an exhaustive list. I think there are lots of opportunities to collaborate. And I look forward to being back out in the region in the next few months. We are hoping to formalise and announce something quite exciting between Scotland and the UAE very soon, being driven forward by my colleague Dennis, as I mentioned earlier. But I've got some pictures here too of some of the engagements. There's also one you might notice of my colleagues at ETLAC Spaceport in Oman. I think it's important that when we look at international collaboration that we also see each other as gateways. So for Scottish companies, I think the UAE can be a great partner, but also a gateway to that wider Gulf region. And in the same way, Scotland can be a partner for UAE stakeholders when it comes to the UK or indeed across Europe. So I'll leave it at that. If you are in Europe or thinking of traveling in December, we do have SpaceCom Scotland coming up, so you can scan that QR code. I'm sure we'll be sharing everything afterwards, but we'd love to welcome people to that event. And I'll leave it there. And thank you for having me today.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time.